What's going on YouTube and y'all squad? This your boy Yako T. This is your review for The Real Housewives of Miami Season 4 Episode 4. Before we get into this, make sure you go to Really B TV's channel. Both Abby Reviews, and Lil Baby, we did our little synopsis of episodes 1 through 4 of this particular season. Cause I've watched all the season, I gave a little bit extra. Y'all know who I'm not here for. Y'all know who I'm not feeling. So there is no really questions. All right. So enough of me being silly. So let's get into this. Um, so we have Alessia. She was supposed to meet with Leo. Um, what was interesting is in previous episodes they blurred his name out. In episode 3, not really, but in episode 4, it happened again. Because again, we pick up where we left off because that's where we were supposed to be with the last episode. Didn't happen. Um, he never showed, and that was because he didn't want to be on camera, which is completely fine, understandable. So this lends us to this idea that he just want to kind of be like meh with everything that's going on. One thing that I will say, me personally, if I know that I'm going to be dealing with someone and my essence, my spirit is going to be a little bit meh, I'm going to make sure that I eat beforehand. Because it's one of those things where when you're going through these emotions and whatnot, whatever you consume during that moment is who you are. So yeah, I probably would have met earlier than thou. Make sure that I ate so then we can have that conversation. So continuing on, we have Larsa. I'ma just screw this. If my obviously my hair looks a little bit crazy, it is what it is. Yeah, whatever. So we have Larsa and her daughter, Sophia. Going out looking for clothes, this, that, and the third, and yeah, Sophia only takes photos when she's being paid for it, and the way that I looked at it is that's not a problem with that. And again, knowing who her father is, knows well, F it, shade to her mother, knowing who her father is, last name Pippin. Yeah, I'm only gonna do these pictures because I know who my father's name is, and you're gonna pay me for it. And we're getting to understand who Larsa is because she got with Scotty at a young age, this, that, and the third, and at this particular age, it's like I understand it. I don't have that much sympathy because it's like we've heard this story so many times before, and we knew when she was on here earlier. Don't really care. She says people has no idea what's going on in marriage. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Blah blah blah. Always a mom. Cool. Now we have Juliana, Ariana, and Gertie. So planning of this party for Julia birthday party. I believe it was supposed to be a beach house slash farm party, indicative of her life. Gertie is helping with the planning, and one thing that we heard that Julia kind of alluded to is, when you have a friend who has a specific skill set, you don't want to reach out to that person in essence because most people, let's be honest, most people they want that friend discount, that finger discount and whatnot, and she didn't want to do that, but Gertie offered her services, and that's not bad because again, even though Gertie has ran her credentials of what she can do, this is a whole nother platform with a whole nother group of people because all of the magazines that Gertie has been in, I don't read those magazines. But I see her here, so she wants to reach out to these different venues, these different people. It's understandable. So again, hey Gertie, do your stuff. This will get your money. I feel you, baby. I'm just trying to make sure I don't miss anything, and I also threw my paper down, got it wet and whatnot. So I'm trying to hurry get through this before it bleeds through all of my other, papers. Even though it's not really a thing because I do have this thing called y'all don't care about that. We're not going there. Anyway, na, 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 na. In this particular instance, Adriana is overdressed at her house, which makes me think that she hasn't been over there before. Because if you know that she has a farm and you're coming over, she wore a dress where it's almost touching the ground. Her shoes are literally in the ground. You're going to see the animals. Because my thing is, if you've been there before and you've seen the animals and what's going on, you wouldn't have gone over there. Nevertheless, Juliana washes not only her shoes but her feet. But the thing is, she went and massaged her feet. Liam appears to light the farm, and Liam is Gertie's youngest child. And then you had Gertie asking her like, okay, well, you have girls, but if you have boys, would they have liked what's here? And you had Julia breaking down and whatnot. Julia had a son, if I'm not mistaken, that was her firstborn, and she had hired a nanny. And I don't want to. I'm gonna just keep it 1,000. I guess she didn't vet the nanny 1,000. The baby was crying. Get, based off of what we got, the nanny shook the baby and contributed to the whole, shaking baby syndrome and whatnot. The baby, went into a coma. 2 days after that, the baby passed. The nanny fled. So you have Julia that really feels a way about that because that was her firstborn child. Even though she has girls, but then you have Gertie who has two boys. And if I'm not mistaken, she lost her girl because she did have a girl, and it was a miscarriage. So they trauma bond over that, and then you have Adriana who can't connect to that. And that's one of the things where when people have something and people can connect to it, whether it be trauma bond or not, that builds upon the relationship. But Adriana couldn't connect with that, so she's just kind of like, and in her confessional, and again, most of the confessionals are shot after the fact. She said that she felt that Gertie was trying to make the moment about her. Whatever. So we have Alexia, Marisol, Alexia's assistant. They talk. Leo didn't come to the event because of the cameras being there. I think I already said that. Um, but they did talk for like over 4 hours after the fact. She started. I'm sorry. So they had separated in November of 2014, which is assumption, which is when her ex-husband and old boy got together, but they did not necessarily separate until the beginning of the next year. Herman had brought his parents from Cuba, and he was the type of person who would care for other people. This kind of is what it is, and that is one of those things where it's understandable, just like, because in this day and age, you have a lot of people that really wants to be, celebrity stars, this and the third, and old boy didn't want to be that, so it's just like, this is what it was, blah 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 blah, and I would assume that he showed up, saw the cameras, and didn't want to shoot, because that's not what he wanted. And I even said to y'all that it seemed like Alexia is throwing darts at all these different stories and seeing which one will stick. And in addition to what I said, what we also learned is that Herman spoke positively about her, of Alessia, obviously, and didn't want to tell her. And it's that whole thing of how old he was and the whole time frame and not wanting to bring these things out. Alessia is relieved and asked if she would invite old boy to the wedding, and yeah, not necessarily so. So we got Rubbermaid Lisa house hunting. The venue was 10,000. I'm sorry, 10 mil. by the looks of it, I was just like, this is beautiful. Now the whole doors closing behind you when you come in, eh. But just the looks of it was great. Lisa brings up dragging the divorce out. Just kind of asking her like, are you dragging this out because of this and the third? Obviously, her maid doesn't really acknowledge that, but just talks about moving on and all this other stuff. Whatever. Now we have Nicole. Her man lives close and is, supportive of. Really? I'm looking at my notes right now. So her man lives close. I'm sorry. This is one of those things of her mother. I'm sorry. Lives close and lives close to them is her support system. She's half Cuban, half Puerto Rican. Her mom. Um, oh, I'm sorry. So in her mid 40s and having to sit here and work because of what happened with the father, this and the third. Cool. So now we have Julia's party. Adriana is underwhelmed with what is going on. But again, we get a lot of this, the majority of it in the confessional, but it's being said in the moment. And this lets me know that, okay, you're trying to pick your fight with Gertie because Gertie helped to plan this. And it appears to be like one of those, I'm just doing it for the show things because you're not necessarily paying me. Because I think if there was monetarily or money involved in it, it would have been a little bit grander. But at the same time, when it comes to birthday parties, especially when you're doing it with a small group, now this is with the show. Because my birthday happened not that long ago, and I just did like a little small thing where if people decided to come, there's food here. Because I at least want them to know, like, hey, there's food here, you can eat this, whatever. Um, Adriana tells Julia that, the bar, she helped make it look grand, this and the third, almost trying to create a wedge between, Julia and not Adriana, but Gertie. And I kind of feel a way about that because it's like, why are you going out here to do this? And again, a lot of the things we get is from the confessionals, but we don't know what's going on in the moment because with the Housewives, any franchise, in the very beginning, there will be the confessionals, but you would get a idea of what's going on because they would talk to them like literally within the scene at the very end, but we don't get that anymore. Um, Let me see. I don't know what I meant by that, but Gertie, so I had Adriana before the Fed love. I don't know what I meant by that because it's been a minute, so whatever. But Gertie brings up the foot washing incident that happened earlier, and of course, that did not necessarily sit well within Adriana's mind and feelings. Because Gertie's whole thing is just like, okay, well, this is all going on. I'm playing this party, and then the next thing I know, I look over, and you're not only watching the people massaging it. And obviously, Adriana did not feel a way about that. Now, one thing that I will say is, because I put CrossFit on the line here, and obviously Adriana feels a way, but again, I don't like Adriana, so I'm not going too deep into that because it is what it is. If y'all want to know how I feel about it, go to Really Be TV's channel, and y'all will understand how I feel. But there were tacos there. I loved not only the tacos, but the spread, how everything else was. Just like, oh my God, this is great. Like what Gertie's doing. Um, and Julia pretty much that's like, what do you share? Um, and then it was the whole trainers thing. And then her wife is, well, what is it? Are you, the Pope or something? Asking with the whole washing the feet because they came up. It's like, okay, well, you're washing her feet. So are you the Pope? Are you something? What is it? Um, Gertie is like, my man ain't doing that with nobody. And Adriana, feels that it's none of her business. So now Adriana is in her feelings. But again, I don't like Adriana, but if y'all watch how she was acting, forget episode. I'm sorry, seasons 1 through 3. This season, she can come for somebody else, but when you come for her, it's an issue. I don't like that. And Gertie is just kind of like, she's like, get you some business. Like, what are you doing? What's going on? Adriana is like, no, I can't really see this because, unfortunately, my notebook kind of got damaged and whatnot or whatever. I'm trying to kind of get understand what I had here. But Adriana says no one likes you here. By the way, Martina says, well, I like her. Nicole says someone like Gertie in her field. Okay, so Nicole was saying like somebody in her field with the way she is, she's gonna respond a certain way. Adriana wanted Gertie to, move and like go to the park. Uh, and then Adriana ends up moving because Gertie's just like, I'm not moving. Alexia is against, it appears that she's against Gertie. And it's talking about, separating your role from this or from that. But then again, these are in the confessionals, which leads me to believe that something else happened later on down the line. Gertie's like, you don't know what I've been through, which is understandable, like, because she's trying to tell her story, and it's like, you don't know what I've been through, but then you have Alexandria saying, well, I've been through this, and because so you've been through that, I've been through this, and this is Alexandria, where she doesn't want to really sit. Because the reality is, you could have just sat there and not sit and be like, you know what, I understand, my bad, this, that, and the third. And in essence, that's really what it is, because Gertie at one point walks away. Some of the other girls come, talk to her. They kind of understand what's going on, and that's just that on that. So yeah, that's it. That's all I got. Rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll be back for next episode. Peace out.